Hey, what's happening? My name's James, and if you're into hiking, gear, and family adventure, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, because that's what this channel is all about, guys. I'm doing a review today on the ZPACKS Carbon Fiber Staff, and I've got so much to say about it. Today I'm going to be going through its specifications, some of its uses, why I bought a hiking staff, even though I own trekking poles, and is it better to use a hiking staff over the using of a trekking pole? Alright guys, to go through the specifications of this staff, the ZPACKS Carbon Fiber Staff is 60 inches, which is 152 centimeters high, and it's definitely higher than your average trekking pole. This thing weighs at 7.5 ounces or 212 grams, and the cost of this staff is $125 US, and it can be purchased on the ZPACKS website. One of the claims that ZPACKS makes about the staff is that it has a good grip, and it's easy to grip, and that's certainly the case if you're just holding the staff. But one of the things I've found, although the carbon fiber does create a grip due to its woven texture on the staff, but one of the things I've found is that it can become a little bit slippy out on trail as your hands begin to sweat, and the texture of the staff is not grippy enough. So if you were to use the staff, you might find that that's the case for you. But one of the things you can do is get some of this Dyneema tape and actually create a gripping area. This is the support that ZPACKS has already put on at the near the bottom of the staff, and that creates more strength to the staff. But you can purchase some of that tape yourself and put it on the trekking pole, or you can just use kind of a rough tape of some kind from your local hardware store, which I'm considering doing. Okay, so there's a few reasons why I purchased the ZPACKS Carbon Fiber Staff and why I use a staff over a trekking pole, although I have trekking poles. The first reason is I actually go on trail with my children quite a bit, and one of the reasons I use a hiking staff over a trekking pole is because of its length and the strength that it has, and it provides a lot of versatility out on trail. So I actually use this trekking pole as kind of a rail for my children when we're going up different areas. I like to, especially with my 3-year-old and even my 5-year-old, when we're descending or ascending up maybe a slippy area, I can simply stick out the staff in front of me and they can use it like a handrail. That way they're not having to hold my hand all the time, and they feel like they're still doing it by themselves. And yeah, they don't always like to hold your hand on trail. I saw that this would give me the opportunity to use it in that way, and you can also use it in that way if you're hiking with a partner on trail who doesn't have the best balance, or you can pull people up different areas of the track. And I've certainly done that down muddy slopes when my wife and my kids and I have been hiking together. So one of the other reasons I purchased a hiking staff and use a hiking staff over a trekking pole is that I needed a pole for my tent that provided enough height. I know you can use trekking poles and you can get little extensions for trekking poles, and you can tie 2 trekking poles together using a trekking pole linking system. And although I have that, and although I've tried to use that, I don't like to muck around out on trail. So I like to just have a pole that is tall enough to support my tent, which is the Mountain Laurel Designs Super Mid. And the last thing I want to be doing is mucking around at the end of a 20 or 40 kilometer hike with tying 2 trekking poles together and doing all sorts of stuff like that. You've got enough to do. You've got to set up your tent, you've got to blow up your sleeping pad, you've got to blow up your pillow, you've got to boil some water. There's so much to do already, and I wanted a simple way of setting up my tent without having to muck around with putting two trekking poles together and that kind of thing. And I know there's a lot of shelters out there now which are single trekking pole tents, but the reason I have such a large tent is because I actually like to enjoy a bit of space when I'm out on trail. I like to enter a small home, a bit of a palace, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy using a larger tent. And because I'm into family adventure and because I invite people out on trail all the time, I like to have a tent that I can use with other people. Although it's really good to have a small tent that doesn't weigh much, but this is one of my luxury ultralight items, having a large tent. So that's one of the reasons why I use the hiking staff, because it serves that purpose for me. And finally, guys, I wanted to use a hiking staff because I like to use a single trekking pole. Because I'm making videos all the time out on trail, I always have a camera in hand. Either it's my phone or a gimbal or my actual camera. So I really like to use a single trekking pole or staff, and I find using a staff is really good because when I've put the camera away, I don't have to pull out another trekking pole. I can simply use two hands to support my weight up different areas on the trail. Now, one of the claims that ZPACKS makes about this staff is that it can be used to jump over little creeks and that kind of thing, and that's certainly a really, really good thing to do. I personally wouldn't use it for that, although I may have, or maybe I just haven't come across an area where I've needed to jump over a creek. So there were a lot of questions I had when I was purchasing a staff and making that decision whether to use a staff over a trekking pole. So one of the questions I had for myself was, is a staff better to use than a trekking pole? Well, one thing you should keep in mind is that a staff definitely serves a different purpose over a trekking pole. One of the things a staff doesn't have is it doesn't have a spike on the end of it. So that's something I've really found that it probably needs. And on the trail, it's something I've thought of adding perhaps to this end of the trekking pole, which doesn't really serve much of a purpose. So I kind of feel like I'm missing out in that respect. I kind of feel like I need a spike that can grip. And that was especially the case when I was scaling the side of Mount Alexander on the Goldfields track. I just found I needed something that would spike into the ground, and this didn't really serve that purpose, although I did find I was using two hands on the staff to help me ascend Mount Alexander. And one of the other ways the staff is different to a trekking pole is the staff is a lot taller. So when you're using a staff, you can't use it like a trekking pole. And one of the things I find is I'm trying to use it like a trekking pole to pull myself up different areas or to step up onto rocks, and it just doesn't work as well as a trekking pole does. Because a trekking pole, you've got the grips at the top, you can put your thumb over the top if you need to, and you can use two of them to pull yourself up. I find it's hard to do that with the hiking staff because you're just not getting that same level of grip on the staff. So what I've found is I've been putting my hand on the top of the staff and trying to use it like a trekking pole, but it's just not really working. And because the rubber thing on the top has withered away when it shouldn't have, although I accidentally used it road walking on the wrong side for about 3 kilometers, and then I realized I was using the pole upside down and that wasn't good. It's not good, and I've got lots of different fibers, carbon fiber in my hand, and that's how I know it is a carbon fiber staff, because the fibers have been giving me fiber splinters on my fingers when I'm hiking. So at some point, guys, I'll be planning on doing the Australian Alps walking track, whether it's this year or a year in the future. And on that trail, I don't plan on taking a hiking staff because it actually focuses on the 3 highest points in Victoria, in New South Wales, and in the ACT. So it travels through each of those states and territory, and you ascend each of the highest mountains in those 3 particular areas of Australia. I may or may not take this staff, who knows. I may put a spike on the end of this and that could do the job for me. But at this point, I'm planning on taking 2 trekking poles so I can ascend those mountains safely. And that's definitely something you should consider if you're just looking to make the one purchase, or if you've got plenty of cash around, guys, then you could get a staff and you could also get a set of trekking poles. So you should keep in mind that the trekking poles and a hiking staff have different purposes and they definitely function in different ways. And you kind of need to work out what your hiking style is and what your preferred pole or staff would be out on trail. I do really enjoy taking the staff. You can actually fold the staff down so you can pack it away easily. I've actually never packed the staff away. I set the staff up and it's been set up ever since. So it does serve a lot of different purposes, guys. One of the other things you can do with the staff is you can remove the top area here and you can simply have a shorter staff. I would personally want the staff to be longer so I can prop my tent up even higher. And at some point, I'll be purchasing the ZPACKS trekking pole adapter, which is actually made of the same material as the staff. And I'll just be simply adding this to the staff to make it that little bit higher and bringing it up to 72 inches. There's also a lot of options for staffs out there. A lot of different companies now are making staffs. I bought the ZPACKS staff just because of ZPACKS' reputation and the popularity of ZPACKS. And when I was getting into ultralight hiking, I was just really interested in ZPACKS overall, and everyone kind of raves about ZPACKS. So that's why I purchased the staff. I do hope at some point to get to try out another hiking staff. But you know, everything costs money and I can't just buy every hiking staff out there. But as I said, guys, one thing to consider is the grip on the staff, the fact that it doesn't have a spike, although you could adapt it in some way and make a spike for it. And you should also consider, guys, what kind of hiking you're going to be doing and whether a staff would be suitable for you. Also consider what tent you're buying. Hey, if you found this video helpful, then go ahead, hit the subscribe button, because I'm into hiking, gear, and family adventure, and this is what this channel is all about. So if you're into that stuff too, guys, then subscribe away, like this video, make sure your notifications are set on all so I'm just constantly popping up on your screen. And as always, guys, I'll see you next time and have a great day.